Alright, I'm back. I think this might be week 6. It could be week 7. I can't swear to it. I'd have to go back and look at the dates I released the videos. But we are checking our step 1 barrel, the 12-pound LotO, and looking for rough spots. And if there's still rough spots, they're going right back into the barrel. Here's a rock I pointed out last week. It's got that, looks like quartz thing on it, but it's got a rough spot right here, and I'm hoping that I don't end up wearing the quartz completely off of it. I think that's kind of neat, have that there. I've never seen that before. There were a couple that were like that, but this one has more left on it than the other one that I've seen so far. I have this many rocks from last week that are going to go into the LotO, or into the LotO, in addition to anything that's ready to move on that I find today. And we'll see how that goes. I've added a lot of rough in the last couple weeks, so there's a lot of rocks in there that have not been in there that long. And I kind of doubt there's any left that have been in there for 7 weeks or 6 weeks, whichever it might be. We have another batch that we completed a few days ago, so I'll show those at the end of the video. Overall, we're getting some really nice rocks out of this batch. Liam did not come down. His interest or his attention span isn't quite what mine is, but at 9 years old, I mean, it is what it is. Alright, I don't think anybody wants to watch me look at rocks like this and feel them to see if there's any rough spots and toss them into there. I don't think anybody wants to watch me do that for 15 minutes. So I'm going to cut this off, and I'll come back on when I can show you what we got out of this batch and what we're going to move on with the LotO. So we'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. This is what I have ready to move on into the LotO. So I've got the LotO out, and this is a pretty good amount for the LotO. So we're going to load it up, and the LotO will start doing step 2, 120, 220. I will continue with graded 60 in the LotO, and we'll go from there. I'm down to probably about half in the LotO, and I have a few pieces of rough left, but I'm probably going to have to cut some more. So I don't know that I'm going to do it in this video. Depends on if I decide I want to go outside. We'll see. There is one that I'm putting into this batch. This piece here, it had a pit in it right there. No, where was it? Right here. Yeah, right here. And I took the Dremel and I kind of evened it out, and I ran it through the LotO again, and it cleared most of the Dremel damage up, but I'm going to just run it through again. And by doing just step 2, it's not as abrasive as running the graded 60 in the LotO, but it will eventually smooth that out and make it nice, and we'll go from there. I have about 4 cups of ceramic media over there. I don't know that I'm going to fit all of it in here, but I'm going to get a bunch of it in there. I like to use a lot of ceramic media in the LotO, or in the LotO, the Vibratory. So we will see how that works out. Let's get that. Start dumping some in there. This is just the ceramic media I used in the last batch, and I'll see how far it fills. Okay, right now I got almost all of it in there. Let's shake it down and see what happens. That might be about all I'm going to get in there. might get a little more in there, but you know, I don't think I'm going to get all that's left in there. There's a couple more pieces. Alright, so now I'll move over to the LotO and we'll get the LotO going. Well, actually, if you want to watch, next step is that I get the water out of the LotO bowl. Take the strainer, turn it upside down, get all the water out of it. And I use cold water when I do this so that I've got a couple of minutes before the rocks will dry off by themselves, because when I put the grit in, I want it to be, I want the rocks still to be wet, but we don't want, you know, I don't want the whole thing full of water. They won't tumble right if it's full of water. So I'm going to dry off my bowl here, and we will move over to the LotO. Okay, here we are over at the LotO, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of 120-220 grit, and there we go. Add that right in there. The instructions say you should add it before you turn it on. I do, sometimes I don't. But basically, if it's on, sometimes the grit will splash out because it's so full. But here, as I turn it on, you'll see this will mix up pretty quick. That'll mix up pretty well. I can give it a couple of squirts once we get there, break up those little Alright, and then I brought over the extra ceramic media I had. Throw a little bit of that in. Looks like I got a little bit of room in there. Oops, I missed with one. And we're off. So at this point, I put the lid on it. Quiets it down a little bit, but it's not too loud anyway. And a rubber band, hold it on. The rubber band and the my recipe for grit are from Rob at Michigan Rocks. I do highly suggest, if you're into rock tumbling, watch his videos if you haven't already. I'll go over and we'll check out the rocks from last week, so hang on just a second. Okay, here's the batch that came out of the LotO this past week. A couple of really nice ones in there. This one I really like. That's the one that I was holding in my hand in the previous video, and now it is dry. So now it's shiny when it's dry. In that video, it was shiny when it was wet, but as soon as it dried off, it was no longer shiny. Now it's perfectly dry. These have been sitting here for a couple of days, and this is our results on the last one. In the view screen, they look to me a little darker than they are in real life, but there's some pretty nice ones down here. I think Liam will be happy. He's usually pretty excited. He's told me I can have 2 of them, and I've already chosen one, so I'm going to have to choose wisely on my last one. Alright, I will probably be back in about a week, and we'll check where we're at. The ones that I just put into the LotO will be done in 9 days. This is the third batch that has come out of the LotO. This is the second batch that came out of the LotO, and that was the first batch that came out of the LotO. So right now they're all still down here, and at some point we'll probably take a look at all of them. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.